Hello, gents! Abraham Lincoln was known for his famous beard, but he only had that beard for the last 4.5 years of his life. He spent 90% of his life beardless. Now, how he came to the decision to grow that beard is a little known footnote in history, but it's also an interesting and, dare I say, heartwarming story. Abraham Lincoln had a very unique appearance, and he would often good-naturedly use self-deprecating humor when talking about his looks. Once while addressing a crowd, he remarked, "I have stepped out upon this platform that I may see you and that you may see me, and in the arrangement I have the best of the bargain." Once while debating Stephen Douglas for Senate in 1858, Douglas accused him of being two-faced. Lincoln didn't miss a beat and responded, "If I had two faces, do you think I would choose to wear this one?" Later, when Lincoln came into the national spotlight during the Republican primary of 1860, his Democrat detractors loved poking fun at his appearance. In June of 1860, one Democrat newspaper, the Houston Telegraph, wrote that Lincoln was the leanest, lankiest, most ungainly mass of legs, arms, and hatchet face ever strung upon a single frame. He has most unwarrantably abused the privilege which all politicians have of being ugly. Now, interestingly, in that same newspaper article, he was referred to as Abram Lincoln. Throughout much of the election season, and even after the election, many newspapers got his name wrong as Abram instead of Abraham. A few weeks before the national election, though, an unlikely event served as a catalyst to modify his appearance forever. Lincoln received a letter from a young supporter whose advice changed history. This young supporter offered a suggestion about how he could improve his appearance. On October 15, 1860, she wrote, "Honorable A.B. Lincoln, Dear Sir, my father has just home from the fair and brought home your picture and Mr. Hamlin's. I am a little girl only 11 years old, but want you should be President of the United States very much. So I hope you won't think me very bold to write to such a great man as you are. Have you any little girls about as large as I am? If so, give them my love and tell her to write me if you cannot answer this letter. I have yet got 4 brothers, and part of them will vote for you anyway. And if you let your whiskers grow, I will try to get the rest of them to vote for you. You would look a great deal better, for your face is so thin. All the ladies like whiskers, and they would tease their husbands to vote for you, and then you would be president. My father is going to vote for you, and if I was a man, I would vote for you too. But I will try to get everyone to vote for you that I can. I think that rail fence around your picture makes it look very pretty. I have got a little baby sister. She is 9 weeks old and is just as cunning as can be. When you direct your letter, direct to Grace Bedell, Westfield, Chautauqua County, New York. I must not write any more. Answer this letter right off. Goodbye, Grace Bedell." Now imagine the smile on old Abe's thin, hairless face when he wrote back to Grace a few days later. Springfield, Illinois, October 19, 1860, Miss Grace Bedell. My dear little miss, your very agreeable letter of the 15th is received. I regret the necessity of saying I have no daughters. I have 3 sons, one 17, one 9, and one 7 years of age. They with their mother constitute my whole family. As to the whiskers, having never worn any, do you not think people would call it a silly affectation if I were to begin it now? Your very sincere well-wisher, A. Lincoln. So he initially thought that having a beard would constitute a silly affectation, but within a few weeks, he was growing that beard, and he would never be beardless again. From this beard growth timeline, it seems as though Lincoln started the beard right about the time he was elected president on November 6, 1860. You can see that Lincoln never let the mustache and soul patch region of the beard grow at all. His trademark chin strap look was the way he grew it from the very beginning. But the beard story doesn't end there. In the months leading up to his March 1861 inauguration, the beard reached its full glory. In February of that year, Lincoln took a 2-week inaugural train ride from Springfield, Illinois to Washington, D.C., making several stops along the way to make speeches and greet crowds. About halfway through the journey, he stopped in Westfield, New York, the home of his little well-wisher, Grace Bedell. A few days before stopping there, he reached out to a contact in Westfield and asked them to be sure to invite the Bedell family to be at the train depot when he stopped there. When he stepped onto the platform and began to speak, he said, "Some 3 months ago, I received a letter from a young lady here. It was a very pretty letter, and she advised me to let my whiskers grow, as it would improve my personal appearance. Now, if she is here, I would like to see her. A friend escorted her forward, and she came up to the platform with a bouquet of roses in her hand. Lincoln stepped down to her, leaned down, and pointed to his beard with a smile on his face and said, "You see, I let these whiskers grow for you, Grace." He gave her a handshake and a kiss on the forehead. The crowd yelled its delight and approval. Owing to his tight travel schedule, he waved goodbye, got back on the train, and away he went. As his train rolled away, shy little Grace darted home, feeling embarrassed. Once she got home, she realized she forgot to give her flowers to Mr. Lincoln, and she was still tightly clutching the stems of the roses in her hands. Lincoln's inaugural train continued on toward Washington, D.C., but a complex plot by secessionists to assassinate him was in the works and waiting for him in Baltimore, Maryland. The only way to get through Baltimore was to stop at one train station and take a carriage across town to another train station. Lincoln's agents had been able to ascertain that a large group of Southern sympathizers were waiting to overtake his carriage and end his life as he passed through town. Lincoln's men hatched a plan and were able to safely escort him unharmed through Baltimore by secretly coming to Baltimore early, in the middle of the night, on a regular passenger train with Lincoln in disguise. Although he had appeared in public with his beard, it was still a new feature and probably helped add to the disguise he wore. So basically what I'm telling you is Abraham Lincoln's new beard saved his life. Okay, well, not really, but it couldn't have hurt. But think about it for a minute. How might history have been changed if Lincoln hadn't grown the beard, had been recognized on the passenger train, and had been assassinated before he could even take office? I think we all owe little Grace Bedell a debt of gratitude. See you soon, gents. Hey, if you want to learn more about that plot to assassinate Lincoln before he could be sworn into office, I recommend the book The Lincoln Conspiracy by Brad Meltzer. It's an amazing book and I loved it. I think you'll love it too.